Yeah, that often happens with him and I.
So the thing is, like, see, I do exactly like that. Like, like for me, suddenly out of blue, when people want to do something, even though mentally I would have done it, like, if they ask another way, shocking into doing something you don't want to do is much more difficult for me. And I have to work through this with my relationship. So what I'm going to recap is like, you wanted to give your brother a ride, you're mentally ready, you kept on asking him to check for the time, he never did that, and suddenly he wakes you up to tell you in 1.5 hours essentially you need to drive him, or 1 hour and 15 minutes, or
and we're
whatever.
up in Hudson, New Hampshire. We're not
Yeah.
down the road.
So like in some ways it puts you in a state of not preparedness, and like doing things, and I'm not very good at doing emergency work, like because for me I'm same way, like I'm like a sloth.
Yes.
Like I'm exactly the space of the sloth. Yeah. I have to wake up, like figure out where I'm going, and otherwise it stresses me.
Yeah.
And I get you exactly. But the thing is, like, you cannot control another person. Tell them, see, what I'm hearing from you is you are expecting him to mold to you, and he is reacting by cursing you or saying mean things, and it bothers you, right? So that's kind of nutshell of what we are talking about today.
Yeah.
So what would always work is your space. Remember, your space you can control, and that's inside. And the way you act, you can always control. And when you come from that space of values, you can control this. So what I do, like this happens with my husband or my kids, or like, you say, hey, I have a problem. I have this mental issue where I cannot function if I don't have the information 24 hours before. I go into this frozen mode, and for me, I'm not good at it. So I need your help. Would you figure it out 2 days in advance for me? So the way you're hearing him is, I need a ride, you didn't give me a ride, so you are a bad person. That's what you're hearing, right? So instead, what if you can tell him, next time if this happens, one time I'll make a rule, I'm going to do an exception, but I have a huge problem mentally, and this mental illness causes me not to do things at the last minute. Would you help me by guiding me to give this information 24 hours earlier? So by putting it on us, they kind of think, oh, I'm helping her, even though they are asking for right. But they need to go to the next level. Interestingly, right, this week meditation, yesterday my teacher was doing the meditation session. He's initiating all of us into a new way of speaking. And the speaking is coming from the level of wisdom. I didn't even know this type of speaking existed before. I mean, I kind of like speak from my depth. Like that's all I knew.
Yeah.
Like I go into this like dive deep. Like like that's why I wear dolphin, because you go unravel. Like where did this knowledge come from, and then from the core you pull out the answers. But like that's what dolphin does. It talks to its ancestors, comes back, and like that's how it spreads its wisdom. But it seems there is 4 levels we speak. Human, bird, and animals speak a certain level, and then you go to the next phase where the divine gods and all speak in another level. That is not exactly divine, like it is like a godlike beings, like like people who are like saints, like beings. And the third one, the incarnation itself, the ultimate source, speaks in another level, which is like the depth, right? Like you go dive deep, like which is coming beyond the world abnormal, like it goes to the million years old scriptures. That's what we call it, akashic record. But the 4th level is totally different, and they said that's a secret, nobody knows. It is a level they speak to take away your ignorance. So to understand that level takes like a lot of learning. So that is a silence, the core. So those people, when they speak, they can rearrange their universe by their speech. That is what this meditation on June 4th our teacher is doing, where He's going to command the elements to rain at 108 places.
Mm.
And I was thinking, like, that level of speech means you're so integrated inside that you're speaking like how, like, divine beings were able to do miracles. So that's like miraculous way of speaking. They never speak so that anything they do
Mhm.
vibrationally shift their universe. That becomes the reality
Mm.
because the universe is waiting for that command.
Yeah.
So we are there yet. but
I wish.
I know. But what I'm saying is we can aim for there.
Yeah.
But for now, the best thing is to come from a space where you're asking for help. Then automatically they're going to do it your way, thinking they're helping you. But even that is better than, like, them being insulting to you.
I mean,
So you're kind of like rearranging your universe in another way. You understand what I'm saying? Does it help?
a little. I just, he doesn't listen when he gets into that space, that angry, awful. He doesn't. You can't get through to him.
See, the point is, again, like the way you're talking is as though you're going to influence him. You have no power to influence him.
I know.
That's the bottom
Yeah.
line. But the reason we are talking is not even about him. It's for you not to feel overwhelmed because
Yeah.
even though the speech happened, like how many hours ago this happened? Tell me.
Yesterday morning.
So you are carrying this on for 1.5 days.
Yeah, it's not as heavy as it was. I mean, yesterday, yes, all day.
That's
All day.
because it's mentally painful for
It
you.
was awful.
See, the thing is, you're hearing him mentally. See, there are many places we listen to from people. But the problem is, hearing is different from listening. You need to understand. Hearing is somebody saying something and you're just hearing.
Right.
Listening is somebody saying something and you're agreeing. So you need to split that first. You need to hear people, not agree. You're going to process. So you're going to say, okay, I'm going to take a time out. Justin, I'm hearing what you're saying. I need to take a time out. I'll give you your answer. See, by you saying, okay, I'm going to he said, can you give me a ride? That's what he said, right? Or I expected a ride from you, or whatever word he's saying. So you paraphrase it for him. Am I correct in understanding you are asking me for a ride? So you need to first paraphrase it. So once you say it that way, you say, let me think about it and get back to you. See, what happened was you didn't process, you agreed to him saying something, right? So you heard him and you responded already without even using your brain, right? That's the first thing. So the first thing is you need to first hear him. Response comes from two different places. Mentally, you wanted to do the right thing, so you agree. But then you process through your heart and you felt, oh, I cannot do it. So there is a gap. So your mind and heart is split now, right? So if you're using your heart, you would have made whatever measures it is to get him here, right? So you're not there yet, but mentally you are there. So that's why it became mental pain, because you're processing it mentally and it causes you agony. So do you want to live with that mental pain? Go ahead, do it your way. If you don't want to do it, you have to say, hey, can I paraphrase it for you? You're asking me for some help, right? Let me get back to you on your answer. Give me like 20 minutes to process. Whatever time it processes, buy time. Because that's the only way to get away from problems is buy time. If people are very, very difficult with me, I buy 24 hours. If people are very nice to me, I buy 24 seconds. So it all depends on, like, I'm saying 24, it could be 21.
Right.
Like, what I'm saying is the snap of the finger is 3 seconds or 2 seconds or whatever it is. I can make a decision and snap of a finger if it is an emergency, right? So you can say, Justin, if it is an emergency, it's an emergency answer I can give you. If it's not an emergency, I have to process it. And if it was an emergency, you can rely on me. If it's not an emergency in future, will you give me 24-hour notice? See, the thing is, you need to say it in a way it makes sense to you.
Right.
It's not, communication is not about others. It's about us. And if it doesn't make sense to you, don't even go there. You understand? Yeah. And you had this conversation yesterday morning, and it bothers you to hurt you. Right? So what I'm saying is, don't ever get involved with the engaged conversation that is meaningless. Yesterday, me and my husband, we were having a fight. Like it's like I always go back to that space because it doesn't matter how grown up you are, you still fight. It's not exactly a fight. He calls it disagreements. See, when you do not work in harmony, there's a conflict, right?
Mhm.
So that does bother sometimes, but I never let it go beyond that conversation. So we had this big pine tree that fell off, and we had the same problem. Sometimes every year one tree falls off.
Mm.
And 1 year he let it go on for the whole season, and he only cut it next year. And then nowadays, because every season we have one pine tree falling, we are getting smarter. Last year he cut it the same time. And this year he cut it even before the season started. I was thinking, oh my God, he's getting smarter and smarter. Maybe he's thinking the same way about me. But the problem is, after he cuts it, it sits there to organize and stuff. So I am doing a keyhole garden.
Mhm.
So instead of ledges, I'm thinking I can use some of the. There's a huge tree.
Mm.
It doesn't need the whole wood. And pine, you have to season it for 2-3 years
Mhm.
before even it becomes firewood. So instead of him using the whole piece, he can give me like 6 or 7 blocks. I'm
Right.
thinking, so I can create my garden wall with the pine.
Mhm.
So I'm telling him, I said, I want a keyhole garden then. And I decided to do 3 keyhole garden. I did it with broken wood. He has this problem. It has to look proper.
Mhm.
He wouldn't allow me to do. So I'm like trying to please him. So I said, can I borrow some of the logs you did? This way I can do my wall. He refused to give it. So I said, you know what? I don't need it.
Mhm.
I don't need nothing. Seriously, I need nothing. I'm trying to help him to clean up
Mhm.
so that it can be used in some ways other than firewood. So that three years he can let it sit and then take away and burn my wood. It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
But he didn't want to listen because he feels it's not proper. I said, you know what? Thanks for your blessing. And I said, I'm good. And then today morning again, he called, and I was telling, he always complains my yard. 1 year his uh, mower broke
Mhm.
down, and me being the idiot, I tried to help him. So I bought my own mower, and I tried to help him. Because I did once, I failed him. So from now on, gardening is my duty, because he said I didn't give it back to him the way it was before he moved. So from now on, he'll never even mow the lawn. For the past, I would say, he hasn't mowed the lawn for 10 years.
Wow.
That one day to help him cost me 10 years now. And he doesn't even get it. He thinks that I have ruined the lawn and all the other stuff. But I feel that's fine. Let him live in whichever planet he came from, whether it's Mars or Jupiter or wherever
Right.
he's living. I'm good.
Out there.
I feel it's fine. So I'm doing it my way. So my son, we have a tree house, so he wants a rock path to be created.
Mhm.
So I was telling him my son wants a chore because he finished school. I said, I have hired my son for labor. I said, you design that place, and I said, I'll pay for the material. You guys put it together. That's way it is be a summer project.
Mhm.
He says immediately, Vastu, if by chance you have done anything, I'll rip it apart. Remember that, because I wanted some trees to be left alone so I can create a bonsai.
Yeah.
I said, Keith, I'm in a very good place. I said, tear down the whole lawn. I'm good. This, I bought this
Yeah.
unit last year in my home. He asked me to throw it out. Because I bought it without his permission.
Mm.
So he made me take it down. It took me 2 days to put together, and I put it back in my office.
Oh,
I am prepared for the worst from him.
yeah.
But that's the space I'm at, because I feel, let him run his universe. I'm going to fit in myself with him anywhere. I can be anything that I need to fit in. And I never let him stress me. You need to go to the space. That's what I'm teaching you. I don't have a perfect relationship with him, but the thing is, I don't let him ruin my life. See,
Mhm.
that's what it is. It's not about him. I finally figured out there's no way he can control my spirit. The minute I knew that, I never ever got affected by him. From 2006, I have the most blissful life. Until 2006, he ran me around like crazy. I was like a chicken with a head cut off or whatever they call it,
Yeah.
because I thought he was ruining my life. And I looked at him like Jeopardy. I said, "Why do you intimidate me?" He looked at me in my eye and he said, "Honey, I have no power to intimidate you." I said, "Oh my God." He's the wisest guy I've met.
Yeah.
So ask your brother, look at him and say, "Hey, I have a problem. How do you think I should handle it?" He will have your answer, because those people who cause you stress have the keys to your stress.
Mm. I
So
believe
tell him.
that.
You know why I'm saying it is, your brother talks to me and he told me to help you. He told me, "I really love my sister and I want you to help her. So I think you should understand how to ask for his help. So don't let him run you around. But at the same time, he has a good intention for you.
Mhm.
So you just have to communicate in a way that makes sense to you." Does it make sense?
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
going to stop this recording.